What began as a straightforward family outing, a joyful meal to celebrate Jack's 18th birthday, transformed into an entirely unexpected experience. As usual, my husband will immerse himself in his work while I busied myself with the dishes and baked pies, envisioning a day filled with laughter and warmth. I frequently pondered the moment when the facade of our existence, which appeared to be thriving, began to fracture, reminiscent of aged furniture unraveling at its joints. Those who resided in close proximity and were familiar with our lives perceived us as an exemplary family, residing in a lovely home with impeccably behaved children, who radiated joy and maintained an immaculate appearance. Yet I alone was aware of the darkness that had infiltrated this seemingly secure and cozy existence. Will was perpetually in pursuit of something, a fleeting presence that vanished into the tumult of his office existence, while I found myself gradually succumbing to a profound loneliness. The scorching sun caressed my skin that day at the beach, amplifying my sense of solitude and emptiness. Jack and I reveled in the joy of tossing a ball back and forth, our laughter mingling with the air as we reminisced about our amusing memories. For just a fleeting moment, I averted my gaze, and as he applied sunscreen to my back, I sensed the gentle caress of his hand. What initially appeared to be a straightforward and compassionate gesture gradually unraveled into a web of complexity as the hours unfolded. My thoughts swirled with shattered aspirations, and it dawned on me that Jack was the sole individual who truly saw me anymore. His thoughtless yet gentle words and deeds enveloped me in a warmth I hadn't experienced in years, a warmth that Will had stripped away long ago. It was in that instant that I understood Jack was occupying the void my husband had created. My mind couldn't escape the implications this might hold for us. Yet, the family gathering I had meticulously organized swiftly transformed into a somber occasion. As we lounged on the sand, our laughter danced through the air, while the sounds of others reveling gradually slipped into the distance. I sensed an internal retreat, as if a tide had swept away all traces of joy. The oppressive quiet compelled me to confront a difficult reality. The flame I had once sought had dimmed, leaving only an echo of its presence. Will returned home, weary and disengaged. He offered no greeting, inquired not about my day, nor displayed any concern for his son. As I sat at the kitchen table, his absence loomed large in my mind. It had lost its softness, it had become overwhelming. I had settled into the fabric of his existence, a thread so commonplace that he could effortlessly overlook it. As I stood before the vacant desk, my thoughts drifted to faded, tarnished memories. I felt a surge of frustration within, regretting the course of events that had unfolded. I found it difficult to recall the essence of the woman I once was, the one who held her family in high regard. I sensed I had become a mere echo of my former self, yearning desperately for recognition, for significance, for that elusive feeling of worth. As I observed Jack absorbing every word that evening, it dawned on me that he was the sole person capable of igniting that familiar flutter in my heart. His bright young eyes evoked the hope and trust one once held dear. Yet in an instant everything shifted. A wave of surprise washed over me as his fingers brushed softly against my back. When his gaze locked onto mine, it radiated a sensitivity I had never encountered from a man before. Words eluded me. In that instant everything transformed. Every emotion swells within, the solitude pressing down, and the desire to abandon this facade grows stronger. Everything emerged into the light. A silent storm swept through me, unearthing truths I had long concealed. It seemed as though I had turned against my own essence when the blow struck. It felt as though I had collided with my own essence. As I stood once more upon the shore, encircled by the throngs of humanity, it dawned on me that I had constructed my own prison and must summon the courage to break free. My emotions were unraveling, fragmenting my very being. Though it lacked the essence of love, the connection blossoming between us was overwhelming. Jack's expression shifted from amusement to bewilderment as our eyes met, and I sensed that we were teetering on the brink of something monumental. I was on the verge of uncovering a revelation that would grant me no further inquiries, only an undeniable truth that would linger persistently. How can I possibly love someone who was never truly mine? Our solitude and aspirations were intertwined, yet they resided on separate shores. The barrier that separated us seemed poised to crumble, just as a tide of fear and uncertainty washed over me. With every fleeting moment, it became clear that what I felt was not love. Melancholic awareness of time slipping away enveloped me, laden with losses I could not shake off. On a desolate stretch of shoreline, I found myself caught in a tumultuous battle between love and anger. Will embodied the shadows of my past, whereas Jack represented my beacon of hope. They never truly belonged to me, so how could I possibly move forward? Summer days once evoked a sense of tranquility, yet this time, their brilliance seemed to whisper a different message. The sea beckoned to us from the window, its allure undeniable, while the sun poured in with warmth. Yet the weight of Will's persistent absence cast a shadow over my heart, dimming any flicker of joy that dared to emerge. He consistently prioritized his work over us, and each instance pierced my heart like a blade. I swiftly dismissed the thought and departed with Jack, the sole companion still willing to partake in these fleeting moments by my side. As we journeyed toward the beach, I found myself reflecting on how much Jack had matured. He appeared to be adrift in his own universe, seated in the passenger seat, headphones enveloping his ears, gazing out the window. The knowledge washed over me like a powerful tide. He could vanish forever in the blink of an eye. It was a blend of fear and an unexpected sense of liberation to experience such emotions. As these reflections lingered, I recalled the moments of his youth when his tiny hand rested in mine. The sound of his laughter resonated throughout the room. It was as if we exhaled a long-held breath the moment we arrived. Jack assisted me in carrying the bags to a serene location by the water, which lifted my spirits. I spread the towels across the sun-kissed sand as he arranged the umbrella, evoking memories of his childhood innocence. As I observed his transformation, a desire to engage him in conversation stirred within me, compelling me to uncover the thoughts and feelings swirling within him. I remained silent, offering no words at all. I reclined on the towel, allowing the sun to envelop me like a well-worn pillow. As I attempted to find my composure, my mind wandered to the scent of suntan oil. When I requested Jack's assistance, I noticed a moment of hesitation flicker across his face. It seemed as though he yearned to escape the predicament. A tightening sensation gripped my chest as he finally gave his consent. It took me by surprise when he reached out to me with hands that had shed their childhood softness. They exhibited a gentle and meticulous touch. This seemingly ordinary moment struck me with an intensity one couldn't comprehend, causing my body to tremble in a manner I had never experienced before. Jack meticulously applied the oil, his hands gliding with a contemplative grace, as if pondering his next move. His touch resonated with a rhythmic pulse, and I surrendered to the darkness behind my eyelids. A sensation washed over me, one that had eluded my grasp for what felt like an eternity. The sensation of his hands transported me back to that moment when I first cradled him, a fragile infant in my arms. The recollection stood in stark contrast to the sensations coursing through me now. Yet his touch quickly gained confidence, descending further down. A tempest seemed to materialize from the ether, catching me unawares. I attempted to voice a command, urging him to cease, yet no words escaped my lips. Even as I sought solace in the stillness, I reassured myself that it was merely an act of kindness. Yet, it felt as though the very fabric of reality shifted with each passing moment. He lingered at the edge of the towel, his hands hovering uncertainly, revealing his hesitation in that moment. I had the power to intervene at any moment, yet I leaned in closer and whispered to him that all was well. Those words lingered in the atmosphere, a verdict that seemed immutable. In that moment, a deeper silence enveloped us. I sensed myself descending further into my own depths, with his touch being the sole remnant of connection. As his fingers glided downward, resistance slipped away from me. My inner objections dissipated, leaving me in a whirlwind of emotions I couldn't even articulate to myself. The weight of my emotions was overwhelming, leaving me in a state of both solitude and exhilaration simultaneously. Despite my confusion, a sense of joy blossomed within me. Perhaps it was due to the fact that I had clung to a yearning for an eternity. As I stood on the beach, my life shattered and devoid of meaning, Jack emerged as a singular beacon of hope that I could no longer overlook. A torrent of emotions surged within me, impossible to overlook. He was more than just a person of concern to me. In a shadowy realm, he was the sole spark that ignited my sense of existence. As our gazes met, I realized that every glimmer in his eyes mirrored my own. It felt as though destiny had presented me with an opportunity that I simply could not refuse. In relinquishing the burdens of what has been and what is yet to come, I found myself surrendering to the comforting embrace of the present. Words eluded me, and all that escaped my lips was a faint whisper. "Feel free to continue." Their essence resonated, forged in the heat of the instant. He continued onward. With every intentional gesture of his hands, I experienced something beyond mere physical sensations. I shut my eyes, allowing his touch to weave a tapestry of enchantment around me. It was a realm I longed to remain in. It seemed as though he was uncovering the essence of my being, a profound sense of wonder and authenticity. It was evident to us both that this was no ordinary moment. It was an uncharted path to connection, a symphony of emotions that defied definition. In that instant, I understood that his hands were conveying something far beyond mere contact. They flowed like currents of an indescribable emotion, intertwining joy, buoyancy, and a hint of madness. A powerful longing surged within me, pulling at my very core. My lips were sealed in a firm embrace. That longing crystallized in a moment when my mind quieted, leaving only the rhythm of our breaths to shatter the stillness. I blinked awake and gazed up at him. In that fleeting moment, all else faded into insignificance. We found ourselves on this boundless beach, isolated from the rest of the world. In this instance, the regulations and the realm held no significance. In that fleeting instant, I sensed an entire universe of possibilities contained within. Each moment brimmed with those extraordinary emotions that are frequently obscured by the monotony of everyday existence. I yearned to freeze the moment, to ensure that the barrier separating us remained unyielding, allowing our souls and hearts to remain forever intertwined. This beach picnic was our hidden sanctuary. The silence itself held significance, and words were unnecessary between us. For a fleeting moment, my anxieties and trepidations dissipated, leaving behind a fragile bond that connected us. We navigated an infinite expanse of feelings, akin to two vessels searching for refuge from a tempest. This illustrates how emotions can occasionally transcend the limits of language. In the stillness of our shared existence, we transcended the roles of mere mother and son. We were akin to flowers striving to stretch toward the light, blissfully unaware that one day it might shine too brightly for us to bear. Unbeknownst to me, time slipped away swiftly as the sun descended, casting elongated shadows across the sandy shore. Inhaling the crisp, invigorating scent of the ocean, I succumbed to a tranquil stillness. It seemed akin to a restoration, a reprieve from the monotonous, threadbare existence that had settled in. Yet, the moment had arrived to return home, and with it emerged a haunting dread that enveloped me, much like an unshakable chill that lingered in the air. As Jack and I settled into the car, a sense of inevitability washed over me, as if everything was destined to unfold regardless. As we navigated through the streets, my mind wandered, attempting to distance itself from the excruciating anguish that felt as though it were gnawing at the very core of my being. With every rotation of the wheels, the delicate facade I had constructed around myself began to diminish, as though an ominous presence lurked, anticipating our return home. Upon my arrival, I found myself enveloped once more in my confined existence, encircled by the indifference that Will had fostered through his constant absence. He spoke aloud as he worked, as though he were the sole inhabitant of the house. He appeared ensnared in the confines of his own private universe. The sound of his footsteps echoed softly in the kitchen as he prepared dinner, yet it was evident that his mind wandered elsewhere. Each time he averted his gaze, the fury simmering within me grew more difficult to contain. "Will, are you feeling hungry once more?" In an effort to maintain a semblance of normalcy, I inquired. His smile was insincere and fleeting. A subtle nod accompanied his continued search through the cabinets, as he sought something to occupy his evening. As I reclined in bed that night, my thoughts were consumed by Jack. His gaze, his touch, and his undivided focus. Everything blurred the boundaries of what once felt familiar. I endeavored to banish those thoughts, yet they persisted, returning time and again. I realized the necessity of pausing and embracing silence, yet a shadowy aspect of my being resisted the urge. It lacked the connection and care I once received from Will. With each passing day, Jack grew increasingly silent. His demeanor, unspoken yet profound, conveyed more than any words he might have uttered. While I prepared meals or relaxed in the living room, his gaze remained intense, unwaveringly fixed on me. One evening, as I sat engrossed in the flickering images on the screen, I felt his gaze fixed upon me, unwavering and intense. I did not turn it away. I allowed it to unfold, resulting in an unspoken connection between us. An unspoken connection, profound and palpable, yet elusive to expression. The weekend brought an abundance of warmth within the confines of the house. We departed once more, leaving only Jack and me behind. The urge to return to the beach, our beach, surged within me, its origins a mystery, yet its intensity undeniable. Perhaps I was seeking an escape from the confines of the stuffy house, or maybe I clung to the hope that the crisp air would bring clarity to my thoughts. The atmosphere in the car was undeniably charged as we made our way down the road. Jack sat quietly, headphones enveloping his ears, as he gazed out the window. A sensation gripped me from within, compelling me to confront the reality of what was unfolding between us. The morning unfolded with a serene tranquility, enveloping the world in a gentle embrace. While I prepared breakfast in the kitchen, the aroma of freshly brewed coffee intertwined with the scent of warm toasted bread. A smile crept onto my face as I recalled the countless times Will had cast a fleeting glance my way before dashing out the door. The steady rhythm of our existence was reflected in the way our mornings had transformed into a ticking clock. Today, however, he approached me and pressed his lips gently against my cheek. For a brief moment, I felt his presence like the soft warmth of early spring sunlight, but before long, he was leaving and going back to his dull, work-centered world. The sound of his footsteps echoed on the stairs, followed by the sharp bang of the door, and suddenly, I found myself solitary in the bright, tranquil house. Like always, Jack walked into the kitchen almost inaudibly, like a ghost in the early morning light. He stood by the window, a picture of stillness, gazing outside with an intensity that was utterly captivating. I gazed at him and noticed his eyes were locked onto mine, reminiscent of that moment on the beach when he appeared lost in a world devoid of distractions. It was evident to us both that this bond had evolved into something deeper than a mere mother-son connection. The heat enveloped me, and I sensed his breath lingering just behind me. It served as a tender reminder of how affection and comfort could envelop all. The intensity of the moment left me breathless, and I attempted to intervene with a soft word. Yet, before I could utter another syllable, he drew nearer, igniting a blend of fear and exhilaration within me. "I must take my leave," I began, yet he interrupted me. The moment his lips met mine, a whirlwind of emotions surged within me. In that moment when our lips met, the world around us crumbled into chaos. I was acutely aware of its wrongness. In the whirlwind of my emotions entwined with love and anxiety, I lost sight of the boundaries between right and wrong. I was acutely aware of its potential to obliterate all that existed. With each kiss, a spark ignited within me, a sensation I had long thought lost to time. I shattered every constraint and ventured into the abyss during those fleeting instants. The day stretched endlessly, yet I felt as though I was caught in a tempest. Jack and I ventured beyond a boundary that was never intended to be breached. I realized then that this was not a fleeting error, but rather a burdensome weight that would only grow more oppressive with each passing moment. I realized I stood at the precipice of my own existence, unable to escape the weight of the shame that bore down upon me. His gaze held me captive, and the subtle gestures of affection stirred within me a profound sense of yearning and desire. Yet it seemed we were teetering on the edge of an abyss. It was in that moment that I understood a significant transformation had occurred within me. We found ourselves entwined in an act that defied the rules, yet it resonated with a profound sense of significance. As his hands made contact with my skin, the sensation shattered the walls I had built around my heart, allowing the emotions I had long suppressed to surface.